sure to check out Agelessgeeks for your figures and collectibles. This video and YouTube channel is rated PG-13, so that means this channel is not for anyone under the age of 13.
So what is going on, my fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? DareDevil 18 here, and we finally made it through another year. Not finally, it actually goes by extremely quick. I always remember when I was younger, adults telling me enjoy being a kid because when you get older, time flies by, and that saying could not be any more true. Time literally flies by when you get older, so enjoy your youthfulness. But like I said, we made it through another year. 2020 finally finished. One hell of a year, I'll tell you that. Not a great year because of this whole COVID thing. Hopefully that calms down this year in 2021. But you guys know what that means when it's the end of the year and the beginning of a new year starts. That means we do our top 10 favorite things list, or most disappointing things list, or top 10 worst things list. So I already recorded my top 5 most disappointing figures of 2020. Now we are going to get into my top 15 favorite figures of 2020. And right here in front of us we have 10 honorable mentions, so there's a total of 25 figures in this video. So right here I have 10 honorable mentions here. These were figures that were kind of close to getting on my list but didn't quite make it. And we'll start all the way on the left here, and an honorable mention we have here is the Dasein model Garou from One Punch Man. This isn't even an official figure company, but really love the way this figure turned out. I had to put him in the honorable mentions because I had a blast posing that figure around. He has a bunch of cool accessories and all that. And then next here we have the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Harley Quinn, which to me turned out a lot more than I anticipated, and I'm really happy with how this figure turned out, and might possibly be my favorite Harley Quinn in my collection. And then back here we do have the Storm Collectibles 2020 convention exclusive Scorpion, which out of all the Scorpions they made so far, this one is hands down my favorite. They did an absolute awesome job with that Scorpion. Hopefully we see a Sub-Zero and Reptile in this version as well. Still waiting for the MK3 Reptile also. And then in the back here we have the NECA 2-pack of Tokka and Razar. And this 2-pack's awesome, man. Really love what NECA is doing with their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie line, and hopefully they keep pumping out figures, because I will buy every single Ninja Turtle movie figure that they make. And then in the middle, in the back there, the biggest figure, we do have the NECA TMNT Secret of the Ooze Super Shredder, which is also a fantastic figure, just as good as the Tokka and Razar there. Just like I said, I'm loving what NECA's doing with their Ninja Turtle line, the movie line. And then next here we have the SH Figure Arts Jiren, the regular version, of course. I do like this one a little bit more compared to the battle version or final battle version, so definitely had to throw that on the honorable mentions. Then next here, this is actually a new release, and I love this freaking figure, which is the Mafex Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales. The only reason I did not put him on my list, which he definitely would have made it, Mafex made the leg joints super tight, and the joint broke on me. I mean, the joint just broke. You know, it was moving fine. It didn't seem like anything was stuck, so I guess I didn't notice, and it just was hanging by a thread, so really not happy about that. I have it being held together with sticky tack, which I'll go over it more in my review. Hopefully I do get a replacement for Ami. If they don't do it, I'll have to contact Mafex. And it's a good thing they put their contact information on the bottom of their figure boxes. And then next here, we do have the Figma Hakimaru, which is a great figure, man. This was so close to getting on my top 15 favorite figures list. Just didn't make it by that much. Really dope figure. And then last here, we have the NECA Ultimate Edition Scout Predator, which is part of their updated or Ultimate Editions Predator 2 Lost Tribe Predators. So that is my 10 honorable mentions. I guess technically 11 since the Tokan Razar are 2-pack. So now let's get into the list and start it off with number 15. Alright, so now moving on to numbers 11 through 15 here, and starting on the left, we're going to start with number 15 on my list, and that is the NECA 100th edition Alpha Predator, and this is the 100th Predator figure they have made, and that is a lot of Predator figures, and this figure did not disappoint. This was such a great release, their own concept, and just love the way this figure turned out. It seemed to be a really popular figure as well. It kept selling out also, so definitely had to throw this in my list here. Definitely had to make my top 15. Another figure that I had to throw on my list as well, coming in at number 14, is more of a recent release, and when I first saw pictures of this figure of people getting it in and having it in hand, I didn't seem too impressed, but once having it in hand, I was pretty damn impressed and did exceed expectations a tad bit there. Just love the way this Carnage turned out. Yeah, they could have done a thing or two a bit better, which is why he's not higher on the list, but now I'm just happy to have a Mafex comic version Spider-Man, Venom, and now Carnage. So love the way this figure turned out. Coming in at number 13 is also another recent release, and this definitely had to make my list. At first, I did not pre-order this, but once I saw people taking pictures of the figure in hand, I had to get it. I had to, and I am so glad that I did, because this is one hell of a badass figure. It's kind of like you get two figures, Cable and his humongous gun there. It's like a Transformer. It's pretty damn awesome, but this is an all-around... Damn you, Cable! But this is an all-around great figure from the detail, articulation, and accessories. Just love the way this Cable turned out, so that's number 13. Coming in at number 12 is a figure I definitely had to throw on the list, and that is the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Midoriya. Revoltech is... they just get better and better with each release, and this Midoriya is my favorite Midoriya figure or Deku figure that I have owned. So far, I think they have the best Deku figure in 6-inch scale, and getting this figure in All Might is showing me good signs from Revoltech that we're going to be getting some awesome My Hero figures. This is also an all-around great figure. And then coming in at number 11 is the Figma Genos, one of my favorite characters from One Punch Man, and been patiently waiting for Max Factory to drop this figure, and it did release this year, and it did not disappoint me. Yeah, a thing or two could have been a little bit better, but overall, just like with these figures here, it's an all-around great figure. All these figures are all-around great figures, and that's why I had to throw them in my top 15 favorite figures of 2020 list. Now let's move on to my top 10 figures, coming in at number 10. And moving on from numbers 6 through 10 now, coming in at number 10, all the way in the back here, we do have the Storm Collectibles Raiden, and Raiden is just one of my all-time top favorite Mortal Kombat characters. This was a figure I've been patiently waiting for Storm to announce. They did, and then it finally did release this year. And it really did not disappoint. A couple things did bug me a little bit about the figure, like the paint coming off around the neck and then his belt or sash breaking extremely easily. So they could have done a couple things a bit better here and there. That's why he's not higher up on the list, but definitely had to put him within my top 10. Now next here, coming in at number 9, is this set right here, the NECA 2-pack of Raph in Disguise and Casey Jones. And the main reason why I wanted this set was, of course, Casey Jones, which is the main reason a lot of people wanted this set. This was a set I was not going to pass up on and miss the opportunity to get, and so happy that I did end up getting this. Yeah, Casey Jones could have been a little bit better articulation-wise, but besides that, the detail on both of these, this is pretty much the same Raph we already got. He just has the trench coat and the hat there, but both figures, detail phenomenal. Articulation, not the best. Accessories, freaking great, man. I love the stuff they included with both these figures, especially Casey Jones, and definitely had to throw them in at number 9 on my top 15 favorite figures of 2020 list. Now coming in at number 8 is the SH Figuarts Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, and this was the one I was waiting for, not the Omen version. The Omen version I thought was pretty good. I mean, they're pretty much the same figures, just different hair color, and this one doesn't have the blue shirt at all. The other one does have the blue shirt, a bit battle damaged, but I love this technique here. I love the silver hair, and I just love when Goku goes into Ultra Instinct. So this was one I was patiently waiting for, even though it was still fairly new from the anime or manga, but I knew Tamashii Nations were going to make it because they make every single version of Goku, which I believe we will have every single version very soon. So that's number 8. Now coming in at number 7 is the McFarlane Toys MK11 Spawn. And if you're like me, you've been waiting for a new updated articulated Spawn figure for frickin' ever, and Todd McFarlane finally made us one. Not the classic one, which we all are starting to receive in the mail, the Kickstarter one, but he did at first give us this Mortal Kombat 11 version, which turned out great, man. This, you don't know how happy I am that we finally got a newer Spawn figure, because back when I was younger, I was a huge fan of Spawn, and I still am. So McFarlane Toys releasing this figure, I drove an hour out of my way to try to find it at Walmart, which I didn't at first. I eventually did order it online, but man, this thing is dope, man. Yeah, it's not the best figure in the world. It's the best Spawn figure as of right now that's around. I want to see how good the Kickstarter one turns out, but like I said, man, we finally got an updated articulated Spawn. This one's more on my list because more over nostalgia, you know what I mean? So I definitely had to throw him pretty high up on my list, coming in at number 7. One thing I do wish, McFarlane really needs to add more accessories with their figures more often. I mean, the Spawn technically is only included with you either get the sword, or you either get one with just the axe, or you either get one with just the mace. Now, why couldn't he just give every version all 3 of those weapons? You know what I mean? So that is why this is not higher up on the list. And like I said, he's mainly on it because of nostalgia reasons. Now, coming in at number 6, you can probably guess, because it's the last figure I did not go over, and that is the Mafex Batman Hush Batman. And this is definitely my favorite comic version Batman figure in my collection. Mafex did an absolute awesome job with it. I know a lot of people weren't happy that the cape was overly large. To me, that doesn't bother me at all. Batman sometimes does have an overly large cape in the comics or animated movies or whatever. Sometimes he has an extra over-exaggerated size cape, so that really didn't bug me. The black and gray version, I think, is just releasing as well, so I'm even more excited for that one. But Mafex really made me a happy figure collector with this figure here. The detail's great, articulation's awesome, and you get some pretty damn cool accessories. It's pretty much an all-around great figure. So that is number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now let's move on to my top 5. And coming in at number 5 is both versions of the SH Figuarts Mandalorian. So we do have the first appearance Mando, and then of course the Beskar Armor Mando, and then we do have the little Baby Yoda, aka Grogu, aka the child. Just threw him in there for the hell of it. But yeah, I definitely had to throw these figures in my top 5. I love the series. I love the Mandalorian as a character. This is definitely one of my favorite shows that is ongoing right now, and the figures are pretty freaking damn awesome. Are they perfect? No, they're not. And mainly, I think that's because the articulation isn't as good as I wished it would be, and yeah, the helmet could have been a bit bigger as well, and I did have to remove their original capes to give them much better cloth capes with bendy wire in them. But really, besides that, I dig these figures, man. But I feel like when Mafex releases theirs, I'm going to like that one more than both of these here. But these are definitely just some of my favorite figures in my collection, because like I said, Mandalorian is just one of my favorite characters, and now he's one of my top favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. So definitely had to throw them in slot number 5, because I feel like I had to throw them in the top 5 there. I did have a bunch of fun posing them around as well, and if I had to choose, I would definitely go over the Beskar armor one. I just love the shiny silver Beskar armor there. So that is my number 5. Now let's move on to number 4. And coming in at number 4, and I believe this is the first Marvel Legends I ever put in a top 10 or top 15 favorite figures of the year list, and that is Hasbro's Marvel Legends Venom movie version, Venom. So happy somebody just made this version of Venom in 6-inch scale figure form, and Hasbro really impressed the hell out of me with this figure. They are also getting better with certain figures they release. They still have those weak figures in the wave, but then they have those really dope figures in the wave as well, and he is one of the really dope figures. They really impressed me with this figure. Yeah, it's a very bland look, because he's pretty much just all black. You get a little bit of gray in there, and then the white, and then the color of his gums and teeth as well. And they did hook you up with a pretty good amount of accessories, an alternate head, and then you get an alternate set of hands as well. Would have been cool if they included his shield, which would be cool, because then you could swap it out with his hand or something like that. That would have been cool. Or maybe having some of the symbiote shooting out or something like that you swap out with the hand. Whoops, I hit the tripod, sorry. That definitely would have been awesome, but still definitely appreciate alternate hands and an alternate head sculpt. That is always appreciated with a $20, $22 figure, you know what I mean? But the detail on this thing was also very impressive. It's not just a bland, plain black throughout the figure. There is a nice sculpted texture throughout the entire figure as well, which is something that also impressed me, because Hasbro usually, when it comes to their Marvel Legends line, they do take that lazy route, and they won't give you sculpted texture where it should be. And giving it to Venom with his symbiote, they made the symbiote look more alive with how they did the sculpted texture there. And then finally the articulation, pretty basic articulation when it comes to Hasbro, but I do dig the movement. So I really had a bunch of fun posing the figure around, and I just love having it in my collection, and it's by far one of my favorite Marvel Legends figures. That's why I had to put him in at number 4. Now let's move on to number 3. And coming in at number 3, and if you know me, DareDevil 19, you know Gambit is my favorite Marvel character. So if you know me, you know this figure was going to turn up on the list. And coming in at number 3 is the Mezco 112 Collective Gambit. And Mezco did a kick-ass job with this figure. Yeah, I wish his armor on the torso didn't restrict his torso movement, but if you have a character with armor on the torso like that, 8 times out of 10, Mezco is just going to make the armor piece one whole solid piece, like with Aquaman and other characters as well. So we did all anticipate that. It's not like it was a big surprise once you got the figure, but yeah, I definitely would have preferred it. But really, besides that, the detail on this figure was executed extremely well. I love the trench coat. The armor on the torso is freaking sick. The armor on the knees and the legs for his boots are awesome. And I also love that you can remove the coat, so you can have either the coat look or the coatless look. So little things like that, to me, is awesome, because that means more display options, you know? So definitely appreciate that. The articulation, pretty basic when it comes to Mezco. Just happy we did not get single jointed elbows. I don't know why they keep using single jointed elbows more often, because collectors don't like it. Collectors don't want these single jointed elbows. So glad that Gambit has the double jointed elbows there. But like I said, he has the basic Mezco articulation. And then the accessories are freaking awesome, man. You can include the trench coat as one. You get a bunch of different card effects. You have the ones without the kinetic energy, then you have a bunch with the kinetic energy where he's throwing them and not throwing them. You do get his bow staff as well, alternate hands and an alternate head sculpt. So you do get a bunch of awesome accessories with Gambit here. So you have a bunch of different posing and display options with the figure. And to me, when you have more posing and display options with a figure, that always makes the figure tons better compared to getting a figure with only a couple accessories. So it limits your display options, or not having the greatest articulation, limiting your posing options. So even though this is not the best figure in 2020, Gambit is my favorite Marvel character, so I had to throw him on the list. And as of now, this is my favorite Gambit action figure that is around, and we'll see if he still will be once the Mafex Gambit releases. So that is number 3. Now let's move on to my last 2 figures, coming in at number 2. And coming in at number 2 is a figure I believe will be, or is on a lot of people's top, 10, 15, 20 favorite figures of 2020 list. And that is the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Snake Eyes. So we do have the regular release, and then we do have the exclusive here, and both versions definitely deserve to be on this list. They're both the same figure, just slight repaints, as you can see. This one's all black, and then this one has that brownish type color with silver. This one also does have a little bit of silver and red in it. But man, oh man, Hasbro really came out swinging with their first figure in this line, and it is still the best figure, I think, in the line. But yeah, man, these figures are great. Even if you don't have both, if you just have one or the other, to me it's a win-win. The exclusive one, of course, does have a ton of accessories. You get so many awesome things with the exclusive version, which is definitely a plus, man. If you're able to get the exclusive version, then that's awesome. If you just got the regular version, it's still awesome. He is still included with a ton of accessories. So the accessories with this figure, and that goes for each one, you get a ton of great stuff. So like I was saying before, more display options when you have more accessories. The detail on both these figures done extremely well, man. They really knocked it out of the park with the paint and the sculpt detail. Really dig the way the figure turned out, and I can't wait to see variant versions of Snake Eyes in the future. I'm pretty sure we're going to see 1 or 2 in 2020. So the detail done incredibly well. And then finally, the articulation. When I got this figure, I was blown away at how good the articulation was for a Hasbro figure. It's like, holy crappy-oli. They pretty much gave us import type articulation, which I'm glad they are continuing doing in this line. And it seems like more lines from Hasbro is getting more of that treatment with the articulation, which I love, man. I hope they continue adding and improving their articulation, because that was always something that drew me away from like Marvel Legends and stuff. So really glad to see how much better Hasbro is getting in general when it comes to their 6-inch scale action figures. The articulation on the Snake Eyes is here. You can get them in any freaking pose you want. So this is an all-around Grand Slam great figure, like I've said with a bunch of figures in this video so far, and that's why he came in so close, just missing my number 1 slot. That's why I had to put Snake Eyes in at number 2. Now finally moving on to my number 1 favorite figure of 2020. And coming in at number 1 is a figure we desperately needed for over 10 years. That is part of one of the main reasons why he's on this list. Plus, he is one of my all-time favorite characters. And that is the SH Figuarts 2.0 Piccolo. And yeah, man, Piccolo was in dire need of a 2.0 version, and Tamashinations finally delivered in 2020. And they did not disappoint me really at all with this figure. Yeah, we got that hard plastic articulated cape, which we always do when it comes to their Dragon Ball figures, so I was not surprised about that. And the other odd thing about the figure is the basic stern face. There was something off about it. All the other faces look great, like the screaming, yelling face sculpt here, and I think the angry teeth gritted one, but the basic stern one just looked off, you know what I mean? Those are really the only issues I had with the figure. Besides that, this thing was executed so damn well, man. Tamashii Nations, you could tell, really cared trying to make this figure here, because the detail was done so well throughout the entire figure. Really happy with how that turned out. And also adding one of our custom wired Piccolo capes on the figure just really excelled the figure for me that much more. It made it a lot more fun to pose around. But yeah, the detail on this figure was done great. The articulation also really well done on the figure. You can get this Piccolo in a ton of great poses. Had tons of fun posing this figure around when I did my review for him. And then finally, the accessories. They definitely hooked it up with the accessories. There's one issue or complaint I do have is if we were ever going to get a special beam cannon effect, this was the time to give us one, and Tamashii Nations did not give us one. I didn't care if they charged us another $5 for that effect or $10 or whatever. I would have paid it so we could have a damn special beam cannon effect. Damn it, Tamashii Nations. But besides that, all the accessories we get with Piccolo are perfect and are the type of accessories I wanted with Piccolo. You get a ton more different display options. So like I said a bunch of times before, I'm going to say it again, this is an all-around Grand Slam great figure, and that is why he came in at #1 on my top 15 favorite action figures of 2020 list. So all of my fellow figure collectors, all my subscribers, that is my video. And everybody has different opinions about figures. Everybody has certain figures they like and dislike, and not everybody is going to agree on stuff. Not everybody is going to be happy with my list, or maybe Shartimus Prime's list, or the Fwoosh's list, or any other person's list. Everybody has different opinions. Everybody has different likes. A lot of people do like the same stuff too, so don't get upset with other people's top whatever favorite figures list. It's just their personal favorite figures that they liked in 2020, and same goes for me with this list. There was a lot of great releases this year. You wish you could just put everything in like your top 5, but you can't. You really have to think about what figures you really did like in the year, and making these lists can really be difficult to do sometimes, but they are also really fun to do as well. This is something I always look forward to at the end or beginning of every year, because it's a lot of fun going through what figures you got and which ones were your favorites, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun making these videos. And speaking of favorite figures of the year list, I want to know what your favorite figures were of 2020. Let me know in the comments below what either your top 5 or top 10 favorite figures of 2020 were. And just keep in mind, it's for what released just in the year 2020. And also, you could also let me know what figures you're looking forward to next year in 2021, because I'm going to make that video as well, my most anticipated figures of 2021, which is also another video I look forward to doing in the beginning of every year. But that is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell. And if you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, who might like it, shouldn't like it. But thanks for watching. I will see you later.